Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and Project Snowball. I'm out here working on the truck today. Actually, the lights are just powering up because I don't have enough light to do this video. I work fine without the lights on in the middle of the day, but if I'm going to make a video, they got to be on. Working on the throttle linkage. Now, I got it finished, and I told you guys that I was going to show you it, later in the video. I wasn't going to do a multi-part series, but it's a lot simpler than I thought it was going to be. And I just want to give you the details so you can do it on your own and show you what you're looking for. So let's go over here on the side. And keep in mind the jam nuts aren't tightened up yet, but it's done. So you saw the way I had the linkage bent before, and it's still like that the same way. I got the nut on there, but not snug down. It's run all the way up, so that's not going to wobble around on that end. Now, everything's sitting pretty much where it's going to be. What I came up with the hardware store was a bolt and a couple of misalignment spacers and a small Heim joint. Did I say hardware store? I think I said hardware store. Stein's. Anyway, I got that all there, and I've got the part numbers here to show you, except for the nut and bolt. It's super duper simple. So what I got is one 5/16 24 male right hand thread Heim joint. That was about $10 just for the joint alone, okay? And that's basically the same thing this is, but instead of having a stud built in, I had to buy a bolt and a couple of spacers. Now, if you've built any four-wheel drive stuff, you've ever dealt with like DOM linkage and Heim joints for steering on a Jeep, you know what a misalignment spacer is. And these two spacers here, they're just heavier wall steel bushings, but you want to have misalignment spacers so that your Heim joint can move its full range of motion without hitting the bolt and damaging itself. Like, you could just put a 1-inch bolt in there and snug it up and be fine, but then you'd end up hitting the nut with the side of the Heim joint, and it would stress it, and it would end up breaking the joint eventually. So you put a spacer, that way it can have its full travel without binding. And you have to have a spacer on the front and the back. So coupling nuts, in my case, at Stein's, were very difficult to find. They're also 5/16 24, which is the same thread originally as the linkage has. So you didn't have to modify the threads at all. What I did is I got two of them, and there's enough space here that the end of the joint is threaded in about halfway, and the linkage rod is threaded in about halfway. Now I used a second one here as a jam nut, and this is the original jam nut. So you see there's not a lot of engagement there, like 3/8 of an inch on each side. And I'm not a super fan of that. I don't think it would break, especially once the jam nuts are tightened down. And you see how much room it gives you or gives the linkage to move when the motor's moving and the frame is flexing and the body's flexing away from the frame, because these whole things are meant to be super flexy. So you want a linkage that can move freely. Anyway. 1/4 inch, 1.5 inch long stainless bolt and a stainless nylock nut. Now the hole in the Heim joint is 5/16, but that's not really a huge deal. It's not enough to make a difference. Once that's tightened down and the spacers are tight against the center ball in the Heim joint there, it's not going to move. So I've got it adjusted pretty much where I think it needs to be. I do need to tighten this up. You see I've got still got a 1/4 inch of slack there, but it's good enough that it'll sit straight and perfect. And when you work the throttle, it actually works just like it's supposed to, full range of motion. Now, like I said, I am going to have to adjust my stop bolt there, because all the way down that stop bolt is still a 1/2 inch off the bottom of the pedal or so. But that is working out great. Now, there's one thing in particular I wanted to show you that you can do about this. If you're having a hard time finding the coupling nuts, like I was. And by the way, here, did I show you the part numbers already? Okay, so here's a better shot of them if I didn't show you enough. It's just a Hillman. You don't have to use a Hillman. You can use any 5/16 24 male right hand thread Heim joint, okay? And the misalignment spacers, 1/4 inch by 3/8 by half. So 1/4 inch bore, 3/8 thick, 1/2 inch long. And that's what you need for that. And an 1.5 inch long 1/4 inch bolt and an eye-lock nut. Doesn't have to be stainless either. Here's the thing about this. I don't like the short jam nut, which I've already made clear. The original piece, the end of the linkage there, remember we had the spring on it and it was up through this, okay? That's the original piece. Now when I took this apart, I could see that this is originally just a bolt, and they ran it in there and they silver soldered it in. So all you have to do if you want to reuse this, and I'll show you why that's cool, because it's the perfect length for this. Look at there. If I can get you in frame, you can run it exactly where it needs to be, and this jam nut just has to be a little farther down there. Then you have full thread engagement with everything. So heat this up, stick this in a vise, heat this up with a Bernzomatic torch, a pair of vice grips on here, and back it out, which is what I'm probably about to do. And then clean the threads up with a tap. You'll have to get a 5/16 24 tap. I already have one. I've got an extensive collection of taps. And then you've got a perfect jam nut. So that's what I'm going to do. Just wanted to show you guys that. The throttle linkage is now finished once I get that on there, but there's nothing else that needs to be changed. It works perfect. I'm happy with that, relatively speaking. I mean, there's nothing that is bugging me that I want to change about it. I like it. It worked out just the way I wanted it to this time for a change. So thanks for watching, dudes. Check out our sponsor, Big Mike's, in the description below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, please, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.